Good morning. My name is Susanne Mariga, and I am the Chief Profit Advisor with Mariga CPA. And Mariga CPA is a certified public accounting firm that specializes in outsourced accounting, tax, as well as profit first coaching in the healthcare staffing industry. And I am so excited because today's topic is going to be about building a virtual team. And this is an interesting topic to me because 10 years ago, or when I started my business, this was unheard of. And now it's very common and very easy to do with the infrastructure that's been set up. Like literally a decade ago, we went to our office at 8 o'clock and we drove home at 5. And now you can literally work from anywhere. You can work for anywhere in the country, anywhere in the state, anywhere internationally even. And when I look at my clients' financial statements, when I look at their profit and loss statement, typically the biggest expenses that I see is payroll. Then there's the payroll taxes, and then there's insurance, depending on the industry that they are. And then the next biggest thing following those is typically rent expense. And not only is it rent expense one of their biggest expenses, but it's an expense that they cannot get out of. They are literally stuck in these leases. Not only have they made a financial investment to get the lease ready, such as rent, carpeting and cubes and desk and pictures and things like that, but they're really locked into these long-term leases because when they signed it, they thought that, of course, I want a long-term lease because I want to recoup my investment from the initial cost. But what happens is businesses change, and sometimes very rapidly. Sometimes there's opportunities for growth where we have to bring on new internal employees. Sometimes we just simply outgrow our space that we're in. And sometimes we just need to downsize because our situation is just a little bit more different than what it was when we first started. And when I think of it, building a virtual team is really the solution to that. Not only does it reduce costs, but it gives us the mobility and the flexibility that we need as businesses to scale. And just some of the pros from having a virtual team is one, you're going to have lower costs. You're going to have lower cost of rent. Because you're not going to have that expense, or at least not a big of expense that's required to run a full scale operation that's on premise. The other thing is your talent resources, your talent pool is limitless at that point. Not only can you hire in your community, but you can hire do this out the state, nationally, and maybe even internationally too. And when you have those one-off jobs, the special projects that only happen once in a while, you can actually post and pull talent from anywhere in the world for those one-time projects. So again, very flexible, very cost-effective way of running your business. The first question that people have when they think about starting a virtual team is, where do I start? And I would say, start with just the same things that you would if you were hiring an employee that's going to work for you on your site. What is this person going to be doing? And when you think about what they're going to be doing, think about tasks that you currently do that maybe you don't like to do, or maybe things that you're not quite sure how to do, or maybe it's a task that someone else that if you gave them a chance might actually be able to do it faster, or even more professionally because that's just what they do. What are you doing that's wasting your time that if you got that off your list, you could be focused on more strategic areas of your business that's going to move it more forward, more powerfully, more effectively. And if you eliminate it as tasks, it's just going to make you available for just the bigger things. And so once you figure out what this person's going to be doing, the next step is really you're going to be creating this ideal candidate and an avatar form. What does this person look like? What are their personality traits? What's their work ethic? What is their skill set? What is their experience? Have they done this work before? Because especially when you're in a virtual environment, when it comes to training, you're going to want that person to have some experience. You don't want this to be their first rodeo because it's a lot more difficult to train people that may be remote than it is in an office. So because they're going to be working in an independent environment, experience goes a long way. And finally, is this even a job that can be done remotely? Is this a job that's going to require that they fill in for you when you go to meetings and the meetings are on site? In that case, a virtual position is not the best way to go. Think about time zone too when you're thinking about this position. What time zone are they required to be in? Do they need to work during the hours that you're working? Are you going to be servicing candidates in California or a couple of time zones away where maybe if they're a little bit closer to to where you're aiming to recruit, it makes sense that they're more so in that time zone. Also, security of information. For example, you might not necessarily want to have very secure information like social security numbers going overseas. And so you're going to want to probably keep that at least nationally. And maybe if you do overseas work, maybe they're just involved with screening resumes and maybe doing phone screening, that type of thing. And then also, what is the communication style of this candidate? Is it easy to talk to them? Is it easy to understand them? How is our candidate's interaction with this person going to be? Is it going to be a positive experience or something that's going to be more difficult? So those are just some things that you want to think about when selecting a candidate. So the next question becomes, where do I find virtual employees? To be honest with you, it's a lot like finding local employees. You would place an ad in a job board where virtual candidates would hang out, if that be Indeed, if that be Craigslist on a local level, if it's internationally, or even if it's nationally. You could also place it on a site like Upwork, where there are different contractors that are bidding or bidding for that type of work and would like to be in a virtual space. There are also virtual assistant recruiting services that are out there that specialize in recruiting virtual employees. And a lot of the sites, such as Upwork, will actually list the experience that the candidates have, in terms of if they work with other people, what have been their reviews, what have other people's experience been working with those. Now, of course, if you want to um, reduce, reduce your costs, maybe get some from the beginning. You may not want someone that has so much experience in it, but working in the virtual world, but that's really where I would start. And definitely you want to meet that person before they work for you, before you hire them. And what I mean is virtually meet in a virtual meeting room. So at that virtual meeting room, it's a Skype room or a Zoom room, definitely meet that person, get to know them as a person, talk to them, see what their personality is like. Because eventually, if they're working for you, you're going to want to be able to motivate them and to be able to um, work with them and give the instructions. And so those face-to-face meetings are going to become important. In terms of what you're looking for fit. You're looking for, besides experience that is just the minimum requirement for the job, what is your gut telling you when you're interacting with this person? Does this person just look great on paper, but there's just something inside of you that's going, I'm just not excited about this candidate. I think I really want to pass. Listen to that gut feeling. A lot of people say when they end up letting someone go that there was something in the back of their mind that just told them that, this is just not right for me in the beginning, in the interview stages. Look at the response time of the candidate. When you send out an email and you're going back and forth, do they get back to you pretty quickly? Is it like something that takes them a day or 2 days to get back to you? Are you happy with this response time? When they're answering your emails, are they actually addressing the questions that's in the email? Are they answering them specifically? And the reason why you want to pay attention to these details is what you see now is what you're going to get later on. And that hiring process is a very good indicator of what tomorrow is going to look like when you hire that person. Ask for references. Ask for references of people they've worked for. Even if you're looking internationally, if there's someone that they've worked for, hey, I need to have a Skype meeting with them too, just to do a reference check on that. Do your due diligence, run background checks. Obviously, the background checks are more readily available here in the U.S. If you're targeting internationally and there's a specific country, it's a good investment to get to know what their laws are and what their background check procedures are too. Because, again, this is your business and you want to make sure you only put the best people in your business. Beware, of course, as virtual teams becomes more popular and more out there and more people are interested in that idea that seems glamorous of being able to work from home. Beware of the rising talent there, that people that are just wanting to get in and they think, hey, I'll just learn it on the job. Make sure that you're really screening for that experience. Make sure that you're really hiring a candidate that's going to be able to give you what you want. So those are just some things to look for when you're hiring a virtual candidate, where to find them and what to look for. So I hope that today was very helpful. And in our next series, we'll talk a little bit more about virtual teams and what goes into building a virtual team. Thank you very much. Until next time, goodbye.